Nico Harrison may be out as Dallas Mavericks General Manager, and ownership may be trying to frame this as a move to build a winning team. But has the state of play for this franchise truly changed? When Luca Doncic was traded 10 or so months ago now to the Los Angeles Lakers, murmurings began to emerge that the team was off to Las Vegas. After all, the new ownership group led by Miriam Adelson and her
doofus son-in-law and the rest of his stupid family.
Well, they are Vegas people. The company they run is called Las Vegas Sands Corporation, after all. There was a great Twitter thread by Texas litigator Christopher Cradoville shortly after the trade went down, highlighting a potential endgame for the Mavs owners. That was leaving the city they have called home since 1980, but a lot of these discussions just sort of petered out or have existed on the background in the months that have followed the trade. The team has a lease with American Airlines Center that runs for a few more years now. They are at least putting on a show that they want to build an arena somewhere in Dallas, albeit with some major strings attached. The team even came out and staunchly stated they weren't going anywhere, especially Las Vegas. Hey, Bennett! Oof. Seriously, when an owner or governor of a professional sports franchise comes out and says, we're not moving, we're not thinking about relocating, it should be seen as the reddest of red flags. But it wasn't, and I had honestly sort of put this topic on the back burner until recently when watching a video from friend of the channel, Cyril Aseo, talking about the Mavs struggles and now departed general manager Nico Harrison.
You just can't have that many dudes who can't dribble on the floor.
He has some great insights into the Mavericks organization now that Harrison has been gone. I'll put a link to his video in the description of this video. Awesome, well worth checking out, if nothing more to hear about his simmering beef with Mavericks CEO Rick Welts. His video though got me thinking, why would the Mavs do this? Why would they purposely make a team so bad, so unequivocally unwatchable while mortgaging their future? It was, of course, a directive from ownership. Nico Harrison bore the brunt of blame here, and ultimately he paid for that with his job. But make no mistake, his role was nothing more than
frontline infantry.
And the interim general manager is
frontline infantry.
And the next permanent Mavericks general manager is
frontline infantry.
And the one after that person?
Ooh, tell me. Frontline infantry.
And so on and so forth. You get the idea here. However, it's one thing just to build a bad basketball team with no long-term hope or vision. The Sacramento Kings have been doing that for decades now. Hey-oh. The ownership of the Mavericks, though, they've taken things up a notch. They've Emerald Lagasse'd this situation by picking a fight with the city's other winter team, the Dallas Stars, and a team who they happen to share the American Airlines Center with. To make this dispute public was such a petty move. A move students who've attended roughly 10 seconds of an introduction to a public relations course at their local community college could have told you was an awful, terrible, no good, very bad idea. The Mavs had well and truly used any goodwill they may have had in the city, but then decided to pick a fight with a franchise that's actually fairly beloved in Dallas. Make no mistake, when it comes to winter spring sports, Dallas is first and foremost a Stars town. After all, they have Pantera and freaking Puck Off.
Dallas Stars! Dallas Stars!
There were some absolutely legendary stories about the Stars in that song during the late 90s, but it really serves to highlight the deeper connection between team and towns, the Stars in Dallas. Mark Cuban made serious inroads during the Dirk Nowitzki era, but for a lot of people in Dallas, the Stars moved in at a time when the Mavericks were heading to the depths of despair, the doldrums of professional basketball, and it allowed the Stars to steal quite a few hearts. But now the Mavericks, which has a new ownership group that's not local, by the way, picked a fight with another beloved local entity while trying to build a new arena. Well, not just an arena. Mavs ownership wants Texas to legalize gambling so they can build a new arena alongside a luxurious resort and casino, something that I'm sure is to rival Biff Tannen's Pleasure Palace.
Think about this, Lorraine. Who's gonna pay for all your clothes, huh? And your jewelry? And your liquor?
In reality, the Dallas Mavericks are nothing more than a pawn in ownership's game to get gambling legalized in Texas so they can build casinos. And make no mistake, Miriam Adelson, Las Vegas Sands Corp, they have spent an ungodly amount of money on lobbyists in Austin for these efforts. Efforts which have ultimately gone almost nowhere. It's sort of like watching Ezekiel Elliott, or at least the 2023-2024 version of Ezekiel Elliott, run a halfback dive with the Cowboys. Oh yeah, I totally forgot they played him at center for that one play in a playoff game. And as you can see, it went bad. In many ways, that resembles the Las Vegas Sands attempts to get gambling legalized in Texas, or get casinos legalized in Texas. With progress at a standstill, Adelson and family pivoted and bought an NBA team, trying to bundle the two together. With that, there became a very clear implication as to what they wanted to do.
You've said that word implication a couple of times. What implication?
Yes, okay, what implication? Well, if Texas doesn't legalize casinos and allows us to build a casino next to a new arena for the Mavericks, well, you know, Las Vegas, professional sports teams, what's the answer really going to be here?
But the thing is she's not going to say no. She would never say no because of the implication.
That really seems to be the angle of the Las Vegas Sands Corp right now. If Dallas really wants to keep its NBA franchise, it's going to need to legalize gambling and let us build a casino. Because if you don't, well, I guess we could just call this part of the story parallel pass. You know the infamous line uttered by the A's when they are trying to justify negotiating with Oakland and Las Vegas simultaneously, even though everyone knew they weren't actually talking with the former in good faith? But really, those parallel paths had started years earlier when Athletics owner John Fisher did everything in his power to drive away fans, not investing in the roster, really bad roster construction, PR blunders, just some of the worst ownership imaginable. He just wanted to play the victim, even if it meant giving himself a self-inflicted wound, looking like a complete moron in the process. Hey Dallas, are you paying attention to this part of the story? Because this isn't a Nico Harrison issue. I get the frustration, the vitriol directed his way, but the issues with the Dallas Mavericks, they go higher up the leadership food chain. As for Fisher, he and his lackeys ultimately framed relocation as necessary. The city won't support us. I'm bleeding out here. Just ignore the fact I'm the one who actually stabbed myself to cause that bleeding. The Athletics built a bad team, a terrible team, one of the worst teams in baseball on purpose. The Dallas Mavericks have done much the same. Despite being gifted Cooper Flag in this year's NBA draft, they have one of the oldest rosters in the National Basketball Association, an ill-fitting roster that makes absolutely no sense. Worse yet, the Mavs have limited draft capital and not much in the way of trade assets. In fact, their best move would be tanking this season, the 2025-26 season, because they still own their own pick, but it's really impossible to justify tanking when the entire premise of the Luca Doncic trade was to win now, to build a championship competing caliber roster for this season. The fan base is already at the end of the rope with what the Mavs are doing. Firing Nico Harrison was simply throwing them a bone, but you know, there's not a lot of meat on that bone. More importantly, if you're fielding a crappy basketball team fans have turned against due to gross negligence from the top brass, why would anyone in the city of Dallas or the state of Texas give that clueless, rudderless leadership anything? A casino, legalized gambling, funding for a new arena, a pot to piss in. It is an absolute confusing mess. The mess was somehow made more confusing when Mavericks CEO Rick Welts spoke with the Fort Worth Star-Telegram about relocation and Vegas. In fact, he was asked a very direct question. Why would anyone believe you when you say you're not going to try and move the Mavericks to Las Vegas? Here's his answer. It's called follow the money. Two aspects. One, at some point, Las Vegas may be an expansion for the NBA. Two, the economic opportunity here is a multiple of what a franchise operating in Las Vegas will be. The thing that drives local team revenue is ticket sales. There's a lot of competition in Vegas. There is such a great opportunity here. Sponsorship sales. Are you kidding? Night and day. The Dallas market was icing on the cake, and the icing is going to stay on the cake. Wow, dude. Icing, of course, is the most superfluous part of a cake. None of this is convincing in the slightest. It just serves to make Welts look like an absolute idiot, which he probably is, but I digress. For starters, Welts is saying Vegas isn't really a good market for the NBA, but also the NBA is going to expand there anyway. If you don't think Vegas is a viable NBA market, shouldn't you be like telling Adam Silver and all of those in these caucus offices, hey, that's not where you want an expansion team? Additionally, competition in Vegas didn't stop the Golden Knights from being a box office draw off for years upon years now. In ticket sales, you traded your best player, a generational talent, alienated a franchise icon in the process, are pissing off fans. You don't seem to care about ticket sales. At best, you may be indifferent to them. Oh yeah, let's also not forget your company, Las Vegas Sands Corporation, helped put the wheels in motion for the Oakland Raiders to move to Las Vegas. They were part of the final stadium plan, but they were instrumental in that relocation, so you can stop pretending. Forget about follow the money, Rick Welts. It's about follow the facts. Your boss wants to build casinos in Texas. And if that is not even going to be a possibility, then they're going to be expecting a very large public handout to build a new arena in the city. An arena, by the way, that is wildly unneeded. The American Airlines Center is a timeless classic. You could be playing NBA basketball in that venue for the next 50 years and no one would notice. It's really good. The Dallas Mavericks do not need a new arena. What they really want to do is develop a bunch of real estate around a new publicly funded arena, because that is a reason to do so without having to partake in, the difficult things like placemaking, marketing, creating something of value. But what if the city of Dallas, what if the state of Texas says no to all of this? What if they say,
she do that shit for daddy, but them tricks gotta pay?
Yeah, I know UGK is Port Arthur, but close enough for this. I mean, any chance you give me to use a UGK sting, I'm going to take it. But for here, I mean, let's be honest, there are no bigger hoe-ass tricks in the state of Texas right now than the Dallas Mavericks ownership group. Maybe the city and the state says they gotta pay. And that brings me to the main difference when it comes to John Fisher and the Athletics and Miriam Adelson, Las Vegas Sands Corp, and the Dallas Mavericks when it comes to a potential relocation to Vegas. Fisher was an out-of-towner who had no idea what he was doing. No local connections, no plans, no stroke, and it has gone really, really poorly. His continued bungled attempts to build a stadium in Las Vegas are a byproduct of a man out of his depth. That does not describe Miriam Adelson and her family. They are sharks. They have the connections. They know the city. Yeah, they exited Las Vegas a few years back, but if Texas doesn't want to play ball, I'm sure they still have the stroke to get something done in their hometown. After all, the company is still called Las Vegas Sands Corp, but maybe we're looking at the lens of a potential Mavericks relocation through too narrow a scope. It doesn't have to be Las Vegas. That's just the low-hanging fruit. The one thing we do know, when that company builds something, it has gaming. There is a chance another city somewhere in North America gives them that same opportunity, a new arena that has a casino and resort nearby. It's not just Las Vegas, that's just the most likely outcome. The idea, though, that Mavericks ownership is going to be happy just building a new basketball arena in a hotel, maybe some condos, retail space, an office, whatever the case may be. The idea that they're just going to be happy doing that is so far-fetched. Tigers do not change their stripes. They maul their way into getting what they want. And right now, the Dallas Mavericks are nothing more than a pawn in attempts by Las Vegas Sands Corp into getting casinos legalized in Texas. And if that doesn't happen, well, it feels like the situation is going to get extremely ugly. Anyone who has watched the Mavs play in 2025 already knows just how pretty damn ugly the situation is, and firing the general manager, well, it isn't going to fix any of these issues that continue to lie beneath the surface. Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to know more about the most disastrous basketball league ever to be played in North America, a league that was also responsible for huge corporate fraud, check out the video in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. And to understand how not to buy an NFL franchise, that'd be the video lower left-hand corner. Until next time, I'm Cheyenne Hollis. This is The Touchback, and well, to quote Bun B, I ain't hating on no Daytons, but it's 2000. Come on, please.
Should I break 'em?